This is revenue marketing raw. No fluff, no vendor pitches. Just the truth your CMO won't say out loud. Featuring Jeff Pedowitz and Dr. Debbie Qaqish. Let's go!
We are live.
We're live. How are you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing great, Deb. Just got back from New York.
Yeah, I heard, we were talking earlier and you were talking about this incredible experience you have at Fanatics. Is that what it was? Fanatics.
Yes, I got to go to Fanatics. Yes. And this is the cat. The cat wants to get in on this today. So
the cat wants in.
Cat wants in. Cat wants to hear all about Fanatics.
Cats are my favorite thing on TikTok. So maybe you should put your cat in there and have him dance to a song.
There you go. Well, he actually does like to dance. This is figment, everybody.
Hey, Jeff. So. Jeff, we might get more views that way. What do you think?
We might actually. That might actually work. A dancing cat. That's right.
Animals and bring them in. So anyway, but back to Fanatics in New York. So what the hell was that?
So if you've ever bought anything online, like for a sports team or your college,
you mean like the Sophie Cunningham point mug that I just ordered? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So most likely you probably bought it from Fanatics. They're the world's largest retailer of everything sports memorabilia, both past and present. And this is their annual convention. So it's a way for sports fans to celebrate not only their favorite teams, but to buy merchandise, to see athletes, to just get into all kinds of experience. And it was my first time going because we have one of our clients, Joe Hollywood, was exhibiting there. So we were there to support him. But, I was, when we were, as we always do, like, what we want to talk about this week. And we were like about 15 minutes before showtime. I'm like, we should talk about this because I think for a lot of marketers can learn how to deliver a better experience. And I think there were so many different aspects of marketing happening throughout the weekend, Deb, that I just thought, hey, why not share?
Well, why don't you set the scene for us? Like how many people, what kind of people, and then let's get in, and then we can get into the takeaways that we can share with our listening audience.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, from small children up to grown adults our age, fans come in all shapes and sizes. While the crowd did skew male, there were certainly plenty of avid female bears that were very vocal, supportive of their teams. And there was, I didn't meet them all, of course, but there was at least 400 celebrities there. I definitely did see Justin Bieber. I saw Kevin Hart. I saw Rob Gronkowski. I got to meet Jamie Winston, who was on our client's program. Yeah. And then so all the leagues exhibit there, and they have all these interactive experiences. So for F1, you got to drive a race car. For FIFA, you got to kick a soccer ball on the field. UFC, you got to get in the ring and practice punching a bag. I mean, and wrestling, you could jump off the top rope and land onto basically a balloon mattress kind of thing, but it was like cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What can we take away from that? What can we share with the marketers? I mean, what was the first thing that really struck you when you were there and you said to yourself, wow, we need, as marketers, B2B marketers, we need to be doing more of this?
Well, I think the thing that struck me the most, Deb, was the energy. Now a lot of B2B marketers do events. They do their own events, their annual customer appreciation events, and they go to events, they exhibit at events. But even including the big events like Inbound and Dreamforce, I don't think I've ever been at a trade show that had this much raw energy and excitement. So I think one of the first things that stood out to me was we talk about it, but we don't really do it. Like, how do you actually build an immersive experience for your clients and customers? We spend so much time focusing more on the product, thought leadership, content, and yes, that all has a role, right? But do we really spend enough time trying to really excite our customers and deliver them an immersive experience that's about them? And to me, this is all about the fan. Like Fanatics did this 100% about whether you were a 2-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 50-year-old, there was something for everybody.
Well, and let's be clear, when you go to an event like Fanatics, you love your brand, whether it's the Fever or whether it's the Yankees or whether it's your favorite FIFA team, it doesn't matter. You love that team and you love to follow them. So we begin with an emotional base because these sports teams, these sports do something that really makes their customers feel good somehow. And we don't even ever think about that kind of thing.
We really don't, and we're trying to give them educational content and we're bringing in outside speakers. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there is value in that, but we just miss so much of tapping into what would really excite our customer. And so that's really the first thing that jumped out at me, Deb.
Yeah, and let me add one thing to that, because this is something that we've talked about. It was either the last show or a couple of shows before. We were talking about AI and how can you tell what's real versus what's not real, and what do customers want in an AI world? Honey, they want the proof, right? And if you think about these fans, it is very, very visible exactly what their teams and what their sport is giving to them. So I think that not only as we think about immersive experiences, but we've got to find a way to turn our clients into, the most raving fan they can be, for the types of things that they do, not at a sports level, but still, someone that is passionate about, your company and what you do. So I think that's important. So, all right, first thing, this immersive experience and this incredible level of energy and how everything was about the fan. What was next?
Well, second, I mean, everybody paid to enter and then spent even more money while they were there. So, the ticket fee were reasonable. I mean, depending upon what kind of pass you got, you'd spend between $50 and $200. Which is really not that much. But then when you're there, you had opportunity to buy a variety of different sports memorabilia, whether it's cards themselves or shirts or hats or apparel. And then, of course, every event, not every booth, but you had a chance to opt in and be part of a further experience. So what was interesting to me was people paid twice or multiple times. They paid to enter. They paid to engage. They paid to be part of an experience even more, which only reinforced it. So, I mean, the amount of money that was dropped this weekend, we're talking millions and millions of dollars.
Can you imagine our clients saying, let me pay you to experience your brand?
Right. And again, remember a year for a while there, our team was doing, the Rev Talks, and people did pay to attend, and we were thrilled that we got people to attend. But I don't think it ever occurred to us what else would they pay for when they were then there at the conference. Right? Now, I guess some B2B marketers would say, well, we do that. Like we'll do like a certification thing before the conference or training, like we'll add it before or after. Not quite the same thing though. How do you actually get people? They're literally salivating about opening up their wallets because they want more and they can't get enough.
They can't get enough.
I do realize. Yeah, look, and I can appreciate Deb. I mean, maybe B2B is never going to quite get to be what sports entertainment can do.
Not.
But I think from an inspiration perspective, I think from a motivating perspective, can it get us to at least open up our aperture and think a little bit differently about what that could look like? And I think for that, the answer is a resounding yes. The third was the design of the booths, Deb. You and I have been to more shows than I can count over the years. This is the first time, even though I've been in Javits many times, This is the first time I've seen a multi-floor booth, where it go up, not just out. I can never remember a time when any exhibitor had multiple levels.
So cool. Like it was like little houses, like you could go up floors in a booth.
Yeah, like floors, and they all did it a little bit differently. Some of them would have like a VIP lounge up, like on the second floor.
That is so cool.
And then,
but you have all that space in these big conference centers.
Yeah.
You're not be able to build up. That is the smartest thing I've heard in like forever.
And I'm walking around, I'm like, how the fuck did we never think of this? Like, oh, you have a 20 by 20 booth, you have a 40 by 40, you have a 10 by 10. We're like focused two-dimensionally.
Asked, right?
I don't know. It was never even a thing. I don't even know if we ever asked the exhibitor if we could. But it got me thinking in a whole new way. Like, okay, a booth can be 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional. Why it doesn't have to be limited to the square footprint? Because even as we were designing, and I was very proud of the booth that we designed for our client, but we were thinking in 2-dimensional terms when we were designing the booth. We're like, okay, we have this space. We basically have a 20 by 20. How do we maximize it? Never thought that we could go up. So, but look, that principle then, Deb, doesn't just have to be in a physical space. Like, why do we let ourselves be bound by the same dimensional limitations, right? We think, oh, an email has to look like this. A direct mail has to look like that. A social post has to look like this. Why? If you changed your aperture, what other ways could you reimagine your marketing so it delivers a better experience? It's the same space. It's the same footprint, but going up instead of just out. I love that. And so that's another takeaway I got.
Well, and I think the really underlying principle there is, how do you look at the same thing you've done 1,000 times and look at it differently? How do you bring a new perspective to that to see what new opportunities you have, right? So it's just like, I've got this space. Oh, but what if I go vertical? So that is very much having that open mindset and not, we used to call these ruts, not staying in the same old rut in the way you think. So that is and now I'm going to have to go, as soon as this is over, I'm going to go take a look at these vertical booths because that sounds amazing. So what was next?
Honestly, I have to give a shout out to our client, Joe Hollywood. And we're excited to do working with him and doing a lot of his marketing. Joe is a master showman and entertainer. His instincts, what to do in the moment. So look, we all have been at our booths. We sit there, we come up with all these gimmicks to get traffic to come to our booth, right? So he's broadcasting live the entire time. Yeah, he's going for 15 hours straight.
Wow.
Does not take a break. And this is what he's known for. And when he's back home in his studio, he'll do 2-3 shows a week, each 36 hours long. So he could not leave the booth once we open in the morning at 9 a.m. and he's going to 11 o'clock at night. But what did he do? He sees a kid. Hey, do you want to come on the show? Of course, the kid's going to love it. And the parents are taking pictures. Before long, there's a line of 50 kids that are lined up because they all want to get on the show. So we went from having, now granted, there's all kinds of people moving back and forth, and we had steady traffic, but he turned his own show into an experience in the moment because he tapped into something innate, that the kids would love to be on the program, opening up the product in real time. The parents are going to get excited. And then, of course, he would autograph the thing for the kid. The kid was all excited, and it just created this viral moment within a moment. And I think we typically think about things like, oh, let's give away a car, or let's do a booth scan, or we'll do booth babes, or we'll do some of these other things. Like, how do we get people to the booth? And now granted, most of our B2B shows, you're not going to see kids there, right? But I think it was just his ability to read and react in the moment. He's so in tune with his audience. He's so in tune with his customers that he just instinctively knew, and he just did it in the moment. How many of us are instinctively in tune with our customer? We have all this data that we're supposed to be studying and reading up. But are we that intimate with our customers, Deb? And I don't mean, in a way,
No, I
like a
know, I
positive
know,
way,
I know.
but,
I think a lot of
and I don't
tech
think we are.
companies, yeah, I think a lot of tech companies don't even like their customers. Right?
Yeah, well, they like the money, I guess, but
They like the money. Right. But
So that
really
was
good
another, that was another part of it, like a big takeaway I got from that. And it was so fun watching people fanboy out over him, seeing 50, 60-year-old men. Oh my God, he's the best in the business. He's so popular. I can't believe he's here. I can't believe I got to see him. I can't believe, just really cool. So, Fanatics is a great company, and look, they've been around for a long time, and they've been building this. It didn't arrive here overnight. Fanatics Fest didn't arrive overnight, but they've been building this experience. And maybe, B2B, we have some of our own celebrities. By the way, Gary Vee was there. He's really into this world of sports merchandise. So I actually saw him. For myself, I was fanboying out over Gary Vee more so than the athletes, because I'm like, oh, it's Gary. But I think there's something to be said, because trade shows are coming back. We've talked about this. We went through the pandemic and they sucked for a little while, but people like to get out and see people. Yeah, they like to socialize.
They do. They absolutely positively do.
So I think there's a lot.
So, Jeff, this is not the first time in the history of marketing that we've talked about customer experience, right?
Really?
This is totally, not a new topic. So if we were to extrapolate from your experience, let's talk about maybe some practical things that a marketing team might consider when they are thinking about better, improved experiences with and for their customers.
I think first and foremost, start with the customer in mind, not the marketer, right? So instead of our programming, like we have to talk about our features, our release, what we need. Who is my customer? What do they want? And let me ask them. Let me go talk to them. What would make this an amazing experience for you? If you could have everything on a silver platter and I could deliver it to you, what would that look like?
Yep.
And then I would start studying that and getting data from there. So that would be one place I would start, Deb. And the second is, given how fast the world's changing and all the various different channels, and we've talked about AI enough, it doesn't necessarily have to be about AI here, but the thing that struck me the most is there wasn't a single mention of AI at all at this conference this weekend. This was 100% authentic. Real fans, real athletes, real celebrities, real money, and AI wasn't anywhere to be found.
Oh my God, I thought we were going to have one show where we didn't mention AI. I guess it didn't happen, right?
Well, I think just in passing, and that, look, that's to say that authenticity is real, and so if you can spend more time thinking about how you truly be authentic, it's not about getting more done. It's about creating that connection.
Let's talk about data. And you know how at traditional trade shows, you walk into a booth and somebody scans your data and then you have a generic experience. I'm assuming that didn't happen like that at this trade show.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, because depending upon, obviously, I shared some of the booth experiences. You were scanning to get an experience, and which was part of. So if you were at F1, you were driving a race car. If you were in the FIFA booth, you were playing with a soccer ball.
But you brought yourself there. What about giving them their data, enable them to further customize your experience, or was there anything like that there?
Yeah, to that end, no. But I think on some of the follow-up, there probably will be, Debbie. As each week starts to engage with them, and I know that's our plan. for Joe Hollywood because we have an online giveaway, and then there's going to be personalized loyalty programs and follow-up that we're going to be doing with the people that enrolled.
Okay.
So yes, I think there are opportunities to do that.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that I know that you talked about were just all the different things, all these different things that you can do, and you called it an omni-channel flywheel. So you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, it was really for the senses. You got hit from everywhere because you were physically there. You were watching television. You were listening to music, listening to video. You're getting real-time feeds on your Instagram, on your YouTube. And so people are posting and sharing content. And you're watching the people record the content, but then you're seeing the content like it happen. I mean, there were so many influencers and podcasters and athletes there, and they're all going around with different entourages. Yeah. So it wasn't just that you were physically seeing them record the content. You could then see on your social feed the content happening in real time as you're looking over here seeing that content. You know what I mean? So that was like the whole omni-channel.
I love that. I love that.
It's simple as so our client, right? So our client Joe, he's broadcasting in real time on Whatnot. So you could watch the Whatnot channel digitally and see him. You could see the screens of him on the show, but then he's physically there broadcasting. So he's interacting with you across the booth in real time. You're in the show. So if you're standing on the other side of the table, there's cameras coming both ways. So if you stop by to watch him, you're actually on the show on TV. You're interacting with him, and you're also broadcast via the social channels. And then this is all being videotaped and then pushed out onto YouTube and Instagram in real time. So that's what I mean. Like, it was all these things happening. So like, if you were there and your senses weren't completely alive from this full immersive experience, you must have been under a rock or something, because it was amazing.
That's wonderful. And then were there any things like if you went to a booth and you had an experience, did you get like follow-up text, that were happening throughout the rest of the conference, or letting you know that something was about to happen so you'd be at that side, or those kinds of things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there were real-time notifications, plus the crowd, plus the buzz. The thing is, I mean, Fanatics runs a great event. Athletes are not completely predictable. They have their own entourage and their own schedule.
Right,
so,
right.
Someone was supposed to be there at 1, but doesn't necessarily mean they were going to be there at 1. Sometimes they showed up, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes you got a complete surprise, right? Yeah. So, but getting to see the entire Knicks team walk down the aisle with Spike Lee holding up the trophy.
That's very
just
cool.
Seeing the fans go nuts.
That's very
and
cool.
I'm not a Knicks fan, but I appreciated the energy. It was just amazing how to.
So last question, you're a CMO, you have listened to this broadcast, and you're going to walk in on Monday morning and you're going to tell your team what?
Guys, I want our customers to become fans. How do we do that? I want them to become raving fans. Let's start thinking about this very differently. And let's pretend we're a professional sports team. And how do we get our customers to be raving fans? What are we going to start doing differently?
Fantastic. All righty. Well, thanks, Jeff, and thanks for sharing. Again, we have a great client. It was a great experience for us. And so wish I could have been there with you guys.
Next time, Deb. Next time.
Next time.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.